Hey guys, MC Mura here, and today we have something very interesting to discuss, and it's something I've been thinking about ever since Sagat came out, and that is how much should a returning character change in a new game. So Sagat is the latest DLC character to be added to Street Fighter 6, and he's a blast. I've been really enjoying Sagat obviously, much more than I did as a Street Fighter 5 version. I really like him in this game. But one thing that I talked about in previous videos, one thing that you have noticed probably, is that this Sagat doesn't play like you would expect. Most people will associate Sagat with fireball zoning, strong fireball, strong uppercut Karas, but that's not really what he's doing here. If you watch my channel, you know what the expected image of Sagat, what is the expected playstyle is, and that is not really how you play him in this game. In this game, it's a lot of Tiger Knee, it's a lot of this medium kick, a lot of mid-screen presence, and drive rushing and knocking the door with a standing media punch until they decide to open up and let you in, and then you score mad damage. So the character plays completely different. Right? If you want to be successful with this Sagat, you have to play him in a more of a brawler style than a zoner style, right? And even then, you will have some of the OG Sagatos, like for example Zaffarino. I absolutely love this dude, and you can tell he's one of the biggest Sagat fans ever. And he was saying Capcom, and this is a recent tweet by the way, 4th of September, Capcom should have just made Sagat add-on instead. I'm not feeling the lack of law shots, slow DBs, and Karas at all. And the thing about this is, you can tell that Capcom love Sagat. There's a lot of love into him, like from the Tiger Cut. Look at how manly he is. Tiger Cannon. He's level 3, right? I mean, there is an obvious lot of love to this guy. They're not lacking in love for Sagat. They honor the character a lot. They really care about him, but they completely changed his playstyle. Here's the thing, his moveset is technically intact. He technically still has the low shot, he technically still has the high shot, he still has the Tiger Knee, he still has the uppercut. They even gave him a new move with the Tiger Nexus or Tiger Genrai, but because of the changes to Fireball, the fact that there is now only like 3 different shots instead of 6, and the fact that the low Tiger shot have awful speed, if you want to be successful with Sagat, you have to play in a very specific manner that doesn't bode well with the Sagat of the past. And if you don't know what is the character and function thing is, this comes down to a time before Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came out, and this was an interview with GameSpot where they did an interview with back then Combo Fiend, who was working on the game. And this is pretty much, they were asking him about how the game doesn't have X-Men characters like Magneto and Sentinel, and that a lot of people are feeling negatively about it. And Combo Fiend answered, if you were actually to think about it, these characters are just functions. They are just doing things. Magneto, case in point, is a favorite because he have 8-way dash and is really fast, right? So our more technical players, all they wanna do is triangle jump and that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? Nova can do the same thing, Captain Marvel can do the same thing, Ultron, go ahead and try them out. It is just the functions that the people are associating with the character. And there you go. That is always the discussion. Character versus function. Because it is Sagat, and it's clear like there's a lot of love to Sagat, and this is a design that I personally like more. But at the same time, I see the comments of the OG Sagatos that aren't satisfied. If you are picking up Guile, then chances are you want a perfect, you want a Sonic Boom and Flash Kick, and you want to have them in charge. If Guile suddenly have a Fireball, a Hadouken Fireball, and an anti-air uppercut, then you probably are not playing Guile. Wait, that actually happened. And yeah, so you can clearly tell that they care about the character of Sagat, but the function is different. And I feel like the preservation of character is something that Street Fighter 6 have already done like super well. Almost every character is shown a lot of love, and even when it comes to the functions, there's still a lot of love, right? Most of the characters play how would you expect. Cammy still plays like Cammy. Honda, for the most part, still plays like Honda. Blanca, Zangief, Dhalsim. I say the only characters that received substantial changes are DJ, Ed, and Chun-Li. These are the three characters that I will say underwent through like massive changes where the characters play completely different. And I'm gonna be honest, you probably heard me talk about this. Although I absolutely love Chun-Li, she is in my top 3 favorite Street Fighter. If you couldn't tell by the channel, she's like one of my absolute favorites. I don't love how Chun-Li plays in this game because she used to be like super fast and she was like super dominant and you could just spam heavy punch. I always compared Chun-Li to like fencing. You remember fencing like Raphael from Soul Calibur fencers because they are like poke and run, poke and run, poke and run. Chun-Li was always really good at that. That's not how she plays in this game. In this game, she's more of like a drive rusher. You just do a lot of overhits until people get hit by. She's more resemblant of a Shoto than a Chun-Li that I personally like, right? She doesn't really play like the Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 Chun-Li. And that's kind of like the same case with Sagat. With Ed and DJ, I don't think the initial design were widely loved. So when they did like a new style for them, most people figured it was like an upgrade. Like I think almost everyone will unanimously agree that Ed in this game plays better than the Ed from Street Fighter 5 and he have a ton more personality. I feel like everyone almost will agree to that, right? I think it's very hard to find someone that will say that they enjoyed Ed from Street Fighter 5 a lot more, right? This Ed is super cool and his play style is pretty cool, right? And what we're seeing is not even unique. Like as someone who played Cody and Poison, I underwent through this process a lot. So should characters change a lot? I think there are degrees to it, obviously, but you have to keep the essence of the character in mind. I think Rashid, for example, is a fantastic way of doing it because Rashid have changed. If you played Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 6, Rashid doesn't play completely the same. He still has the whirlwind, he still have his what is it called? Spinning mixer, and he still has the eagle spike, but a lot of his moves have changed as well, but they kept the essence of Rashid. Rashid is still a rush down character, he was a rush down character, he's still a rush down character, and his essence was, well, his thing is he gets, like his movement get enhanced by the wind. And that still remain. He's still a rush down character and he still has the wind gimmick, so Rashid is still intact. If you want to fundamentally change a character, if you want to change a ton about them, then one of the better ways of doing it is just simply introduce someone new, like a disciple or an adjacent character. And I feel like, for example, Aki is a great way of doing it, right? Aki is Fang's disciple. And maybe Capcom didn't love how Fang ended up being. Fang wasn't that popular, so they did Aki, right? And in many ways, Aki resembles Fang. She still got the poison mechanic, although it works a little bit different. But they used the vehicle of a new character to facilitate a new playstyle. And I feel like that generally works. Like when you think even of like other games, like for example Tekken, Jin suddenly stopped using the Mishima style and started doing karate. And why? Because, well, he's a new generation, so you can do that with him, but also story progression. And I feel like story progression plays a big part as well. If the character have changed drastically, like I just talked about Nash, like the Nash example. Nash plays completely different, but there is some story reasoning as to why. And yes, more story in your game, yeah. He gained new powers, so you have to display them, and that can facilitate the new play style. I think story or introducing like a new character is the best way of doing it. But Sagat now being bad at throwing fireballs because of old age or whatever, I mean that doesn't make sense to me. That simply to me doesn't make sense. And obviously there is always the argument of the character and the function, and no one will say that Sagat sucks in this game. but some of the Sagat OGs will not play Sagat. Like for me, it is criminal that this is a game of Street Fighter, and Bison is a character that I have always hated since I was a 9-year-old, and I like playing Bison in this game, and I don't like playing Chun-Li, even though I've always loved Chun-Li. I love the characterization of Chun-Li. I don't play Chun-Li in this game, and I play Bison instead. Right, and I like Bison. Like he's alright, but I don't absolutely love Lord Bison. I love Chun-Li, but he's more fun to play in this game than her. And actually funny because I know some Street Fighter 5 Bison players that preferred the 5 version over the version in 6. And I guess that's what you get when you change characters so much. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're gonna change characters, they have to maintain the archetype. Like you can tweak the function, but don't outright change it. No one wants, like Zangief players love playing Zangief because he is the grappler, right? They want to play that Zangief. If you give Zangief an aerial fireball and Shoryuken and long limbs like Dhalsim, then that is not Zangief anymore. Right? People wanted to play Sagat because they wanted the zoning Sagat. They wanted to throw tiger shots and they wanted to uppercuts. You brought him back, you did a lot of changes to him, and sure, that will attract new players, but at the same time, the OGs doesn't. So if you're gonna evolve him a little bit, you need to keep enough of the original DNA to satisfy the returning fan base. Otherwise, introduce a new character. If they didn't add Sagat and they added like a new Muay Thai character who does play the more up-close game, I don't think people would have cared. No one would have been disappointed, right? Everyone would have been happy. Same as you did with Aki. Is anyone sad about what Capcom did with Aki? No. Like everyone is happy. Or if there is like story reasoning, show me that there is like story justification, like the character gained a new power or something happened to him where the abilities are literally different, then I guess that's okay at that point. But changes just because the character now doesn't feel like throwing 6 fireballs and is just content with throwing 3, I can see why that would disappoint people. What are your thoughts? Where do you stand with this? I personally am in the camp of keep people happy. If these guys love Sagat, then they love Sagat, and they love playing Sagat, and they love throwing fireballs with Sagat, and they love Kara uppercutting with Sagat, and bringing back the character without the function is just like bringing the function without the character. For me, character, function, love. I feel like I've been rambling too much. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this whole discussion? I will leave a link to the Patreon, Discord, Twitter, and Twitch pages in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe.